RoADPain, Understanding the Importance of Period Pain in Teenagers. You are invited to take part in our research study. My name is Lydia Coxon.
And I'm Katie Vincent. We are scientists that work at the University of Oxford in the Department of Women's and Reproductive Health.
Before you decide if you'd like to join in, it is important that you know what the study is about and what we would ask you to do. Please read and think about this leaflet carefully. You can talk to your friends, family or us about it if you want. If anything isn't clear or you have more questions, you can ask your parent carer to give us a call and we can talk with you and your parent carer about it.
Taking part will not help you personally, although you will receive vouchers for your time. Why are we doing this research? Everyone experiences pain at some point, but for some people this pain does not go away. We study why some people experience pain for a long time and how we can stop this from happening to other people. We already know that women are more likely than men to get pain that doesn't go away. We call this chronic pain. There are lots of different types of pain, one of which is period pain. We want to look at young people who've had periods who experience period pain or not. We will use questions, brain scans and tests of different body systems, nerves, bladders and heart.
Why have I been invited to take part?
We hope to have 120 young people taking part who have been having periods for between 1 year and 6 years.
You've been invited to take part because you are a young person aged 11 to 20. You have started your periods and you do not take hormone medicines or contraceptives such as the pill or the mini pill for any reason.
Do I have to take part? No, it's up to you. We will ask you to sign your name on a form to say that you agree to take part. This is called an assent form. As you are under the age of 16, we will also ask your parent or guardian to sign a form to say they agree for you to take part. This is a consent form. We will give you a copy of the sheet and your assent form to keep. You are free to stop taking part at any time and you do not need to tell us why. If you do not want to take part, if you stop taking part, it will not change any care you get from a doctor now or in the future.
What will happen to me if I take part? There are 4 parts to this study, and we ask you to take part in them all. Questionnaires, saliva, that's spit, collection, testing of body systems, brain scan.
If you are happy to do this and that the researchers agree that it is safe for you. We will ask you to fill in some questionnaires at the start of the study. The testing of body systems and the brain scan, if you are doing this part, we will do twice.
At different parts of your menstrual cycle. Your menstrual cycle is the time between one period and the next. We will do these visits once during your period and once about 10 days after a period. We will ask your parent/guardian to come along to these visits, although they may not be able to be in the room with you for all parts of the study.
The questionnaires. When you start the study, we will ask you to fill out a questionnaire. This will include questions about you, including information about your periods and your well-being. We expect this will take about 15 minutes to complete. At each visit, we will also ask you to fill out short questionnaires about how you are feeling. You will be asked to complete another questionnaire at the end of the study.
Saliva, spit, collection. We will ask you to collect spit during your study visits and at home. For these, we will ask you to chew something and spit into a tube. We will explain how to do these during a visit. We will give you paper instructions for any you collect at home. Altogether, we will ask you to collect 14 separate samples. One of your spit samples will be used to look at genetics. There is more information about this in the section, What will happen to the samples I give?
Testing of body systems. The second part of the study will take part in the John Radcliffe Hospital. We will do these tests at 2 different times. The timings of these will be around your menstrual cycle, with one session during your period and the other around 10 days after your period. These visits will take about 4 hours plus break times each. On the day, a member of the team will meet you and take you to a certain room. We will explain what you are going to do, show you any tools we will use and answer any questions you and your parents or guardians might have. If you are happy to continue, we will ask you to sign the form. Your parent and guardian can be in the room whilst we explain what we will be doing, but we will ask them to step outside the room for the tests. Ideally, we would like you to not drink caffeine. This is found in tea, coffee and fizzy drinks, or take painkillers on the day of the tests. It is okay if you cannot do this. On our website you can find a video recording of these visits so you can see what it will be like.
Part 1 looks at your nerves and muscles and takes about 1 hour. We will use different tools to look at how you feel things on your skin, like touch, cold and warm. We will do this on the opposite hand and arm to the one you write with. If you're right-handed, we will test on your left hand/arm. We will ask you what you felt. There are videos showing these on our project website.
Okay, so the device will cool down. Click when it becomes painful. Great. This will vibrate. I'll place it on your bone and tell me when it stops vibrating.
I can't feel it anymore.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to poke you with these fine metal rods if you tell me if it's a stabbing sensation or pain, just a touch sensation.
Just a touch.
Great.
That was like kind of stabby, but it didn't hurt.
Okay.
Not too bad.
Okay. Okay, so for this I'll apply a pressure and you just tell me when that pressure becomes painful.
Now.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I will poke you with these and I want you to look away and just tell me if you feel anything, okay? Great.
Not really.
No, great.
Part 2. Part 2 looks at your heart and how fast or slow it's pumping, as well as getting some saliva from you to look at a hormone called cortisol. This part will take about an hour. First, we will ask you to chew on something, which will help us collect your saliva. Then we will stick small pads to your chest, which allow us to measure your heart. We will put a cuff on your arm. This is the same type of cuff that is used to measure your blood pressure at the doctor's. We will then ask you to sit still and quietly for 20 minutes so we can measure your heart. Next, we will test how you feel about some things which cause pain. These will be short and will not cause you any damage. Once we have finished these tests, we will ask for some saliva and measure your heart again for 20 minutes.
Part 3. Look at how your bladder works. This will take up to 2 hours. About an hour before the test, we will ask you to drink plenty of fluid like water to ensure you are well hydrated. When we start, we will ask you to go for a wee and then we can start the test. You will need to sit quietly in a room for the duration of this visit, but we will give you some puzzles to occupy you. We will give you some water to drink and then at regular times ask you to rate sensations from your bladder. When you feel your bladder is at its maximum fullness and you can't hold it any longer, we will ask you to go to the toilet and wee in a bowl. Then we will measure the volume. We will stop this part after 2 hours and ask for you to go to the toilet then if you haven't already. At the end of the visit, we will give you 5 small bottles that we would like you to collect saliva spit in at certain times of the day before your next visit. We will explain what to do.
Brain scan. You may not be able to have a brain scan for this study, for example if you have a fixed dental brace, but you may be able to take part in the other study procedures.
The third part of the study will take part in the John Radcliffe Hospital. We will do these tests at 2 different times. The timing of these will be around your menstrual cycle, with 1 session during your period and the other around 10 days after your period. Your parent/guardian will not be able to be in the scanner with you, but they may be allowed in the scan room if it is safe. On the day, a member of the team will meet you and take you to a certain room. We will explain what we are going to do, show you any tools we will use, and answer any questions you or your parent/guardian have. The brain scan is an fMRI. Before the brain scan, for safety reasons, we will ask you to change into a pyjama-style top and trousers. We have these in many sizes. We will ask you to remove any metal objects you may be carrying or wearing, such as earrings, a bar of metal, or a watch. A radiographer, the person who controls the scanner, will go through some questions with you. Your answers to these are confidential. More information about fMRI, including how it works, can be found on our website.
You will then go to the scanner room. The scanner looks like a large box with a tube through the middle. You will lie on a bed and we will put a helmet around your head. The bed then moves into the middle of the scanner. There is a mirror on the top of the helmet so you can see out. Brain scans can be noisy, but we will give you earplugs to make it quieter for you. So that we can get a nice clear pictures, we will also ask you to keep still during the scans and try not to move your head. You will be given a call button to hold during the scan, which you can press to get the attention of the researcher on the other side of the window just outside the scanner. There are 3 parts to the scan. The first part will ask you to look at a cross on a screen for about 15 minutes. The second part, a researcher will come in and poke your lower leg with a blunt pinprick. During this stage, we will take pictures of your brain. These pictures will be used to create a movie to understand where blood is flowing in the brain. The third part, we will take some detailed pictures of your brain structure. What should I consider? You may not be able to participate if you are taking or have taken hormonal therapies such as the pill or mini pill. You will not be able to participate as these will affect your hormone levels and can alter your menstrual cycle. If you have or have had in the past any chronic pain condition other than period pain, including migraines, you will not be able to participate as it might alter some of the measures we are collecting. If you have had a diagnosis of cancer, you will not be able to participate as it might alter some of the measures we are collecting. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, then you will not be able to participate as these both affect pelvic pain and also many of the measures we are collecting. There are additional specific reasons that may mean that you cannot take part in this study, but we will discuss these with you if you want to take part. You can tell the researcher if any of these apply to you or you think they might, and we will keep it confidential.
Are there any possible disadvantages or risks from taking part? We've designed the study with the input of people like you, patient representatives. However, there are still some disadvantages associated with being involved.
Time. The questionnaires and study visits will take time to complete and will require visits to the hospital.
Distress caused by the questionnaires. We are aware that some of the questions we ask may be embarrassing or even upsetting to answer. If this is the case, we can provide support for you through the clinical teams with whom we work, doctors for example. We will also give you information about how to ask for this help when we give you the questionnaires.
Discomfort from testing pain-relevant systems. The tests that we carry out want to look at how you feel pain, so parts will cause some short-lasting pain. Nothing will cause long-lasting damage, and any pain will be as short as possible. If you want to stop at any point, we will.
Brain scan, also called an fMRI. These brain scans use large magnets to work, so some people are not able to be scanned. We will go through a few questions with you to check you are able to be scanned. If you're scared of small spaces, claustrophobic, then you cannot be scanned. As the machine is noisy, you'll be given earplugs. We will also ask you to change into pyjama-style clothes. We ask you not to wear any makeup to the scan. The images of your brain will be used for research and won't be looked at by a doctor. Occasionally we might see something in a scan which isn't normal, and then we would pass it on to be looked at by a doctor who would contact you if it was important for your health. Heart rate measurements, ECG. The measurements of your heart rate will be used for research and won't be looked at by a doctor. Very occasionally, we might see something in a measurement, ECG, which isn't normal, and then we would pass it on to be looked at by a doctor who would contact you or your parent or carer if it was important for your health. What are the possible advantages of taking part? Taking part will not help you personally, but we hope you'll find the tests and brain scan interesting. Also, we hope the findings from this study will be beneficial for young people and adults who menstruate and experience period pain or other chronic pain conditions.
Will anyone else know I'm doing this? We will keep your information private. This means we will only tell those who have a need or right to know, such as the research team and your parents or carers. We will inform your GP if you are taking part in the study by sending them a letter. We will also write to them if we are worried about any answers in the questionnaire. If we detect anything not normal in your brain scan, which is very rare, we will also contact your GP.
Will I get anything for taking part?
We will pay for your travel to attend study visits at the hospital. Additionally, you will receive vouchers for taking part to say thank you for your time in taking part in the study. A voucher of £25 will be given to you for each visit. There will be 4 visits in total, or 2 visits if you're not having the brain scans. A £15 voucher will be given to you after you complete the first set of questionnaires, and a final £25 voucher will be given to you if you complete the end of study questionnaire. If you participate in all aspects of the study, you will receive up to £140 worth of vouchers.
What will happen to the samples I give? The saliva samples will be kept securely and confidentially and will be labelled with your unique study number. Samples will be referred to only by this study number, and your name will not be available to the laboratory scientists. Once we've collected samples from all the people in the study, these will be stored until we are ready to analyse them. Some of the analysis experiments to look at what is in your spit may be performed by other laboratories, including within commercial companies, and therefore samples will be transferred from Oxford to these laboratories. This includes laboratories outside of the UK.
We will look at different biological and genetic material in your saliva, spit. We will use this information in our analysis to see how hormones affect our measures. You can find more information about genetics on our website. If you have any questions about this, please let us know and we can talk to you about them.
If you agree, part of the samples taken may be used for genetic studies, investigating specific genes or your entire genome. Genes provide instructions for processes in the body and for traits such as eye colour. Everyone's genes are a little different. Information about these differences among people can help researchers understand things, such as how to best use drugs to treat diseases. The results of these tests will not have any implications for you personally. We cannot tell you the results from the genetic tests. All data, including the genetic data, will be coded before analysis so that the researchers will not be able to link research results directly to individuals. However, your DNA is unique, so it can never be completely anonymous.
What will happen to my data? The information you provide during the study is the research data. Any research data from which you or your parent or guardian can be identified, name, date of birth, contact details of your parent carer, is known as personal data. Personal data will be stored in a locked filing cabinet and on password-protected servers in the university. Your name and the contact details of your parent or carer will be kept for up to 3 years after the study has finished. We will then remove all copies of these details. We will only keep these longer if you and your parent or carer consent to us keeping your details to contact you about future research studies. If you both assent or consent to this, we will securely store this personal data in a password-protected file. Your date of birth will be kept alongside an anonymous study number, which will also label your brain scans, any samples and test results. This is because it is important to keep a record of your age for our research. We will store this information for a minimum of 3 years after publication or public release of the work, which may be 2 to 3 years from the end of the study. The assent/consent forms you and your parent or carer sign at the start of the study will be stored securely for 10 years. Other research data will be stored securely at the university for 3 years after the youngest participant turns 18 years old, or for 5 years, whichever is longer. Different scientists in the study will look at this research data, and all will be under the supervision of Professor Katie Vincent. This research data will also be shared with other researchers interested in pain, but this would always be completely anonymous. We will not share any of the research data with your parents or carers.
What if I don't want to take part in the research anymore? Just tell your parent/carer and the people carrying out the research that you don't want to take part. You don't have to give a reason and no one will be annoyed with you. It's your choice.
What will happen to the results of this study? The results and findings from this study will be written in scientific papers that will be published and shown at relevant conferences, big meetings, including meetings dedicated to gynecology and pain. You will not be identifiable in any of these instances, and all details will remain strictly confidential. Some of the research being undertaken will also be a part of the student projects, like coursework such as writing a PhD, project or dissertation. We would also like to show our findings to you. Summaries of the findings and all associated publications, papers or posters will be available on the project website.
What if we find something unexpected or surprising? None of the genetic or sample analysis are useful for you, and therefore we will not be telling you any results from these. However, although the brain scans are not normally looked at by a doctor, there is a possibility that something not normal might be detected. As described above, if such an abnormality were found, we would have the scan checked by a doctor who would then contact you and your parent or carer to advise on the need for further tests. We will also write to your GP if we're concerned about any answers in the questionnaires.
What if there is a problem or something goes wrong? Please tell us if you are worried about any part of this study by contacting the researcher by email. Also talk to your parent/carer who will let the researcher know. If you are still unhappy or wish to make a complaint, either you or your parent/carer can contact Professor Katie Vincent, whose details are available on the paper copy. Or you may contact the Chair of the University of Oxford Clinical Trials and Research Government, whose details are available on the paper copy. The University of Oxford, as sponsor, has appropriate insurance in place in the unlikely event that you suffer any harm as a direct consequence of your participation in this study. NHS indemnity operates in respect of any clinical treatment which is provided. The Patient Advisory Liaison Service, PALS, is a confidential NHS service that can provide you with support for any complaints or queries you may have regarding the care you receive as an NHS patient. PALS are unable to provide information about this research study. If you wish to contact the PALS team, please contact them with their information on this paper copy.
How have patients and the public been involved in this study? We have worked with patient representatives, people like you, since we started designing this study, and they are key partners in the project. More details about what they do are available on the project website.
Who is organising and funding the study? This study is being organised by a group of researchers from around the United Kingdom, led by Professor Katie Vincent, Nuffield Department of Women's and Reproductive Health, University of Oxford. It is funded by the Medical Research Foundation as part of the UKRI Strategic Priorities Fund, SPF, Advanced Pain Discovery Platform, APDP, a co-funded initiative by UKRI, MRC, BBSRC, ESRC, Versus Arthritis, the Medical Research Foundation, and Eli Lilly and Company Ltd, Oxford University, is the sponsor of this study.